I'm going to wait till my change comes. And if I don't, and if it doesn't come now, it'll come when Moshiach comes.
Amen. Amen.
If a man died, Job 14:14. Shall he live again? Oh yes. Oh yes in the affirmative. Oh yes. 1,000,000 times yes. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Those who trust, listen, in the physical resurrection of the righteous saved will always cause division. What divided the Sanhedrin? Rav Shaul's faith. What? In the Mashiach? No. If the Mashiach was dead, he wouldn't have caused a division. His faith in the physical resurrection, that will blow the average religious person away. The same body that walked in is the same body that's going to walk out. And when you believe that, not the Jehovah's Witness doctrine that Michael's going to show up. He walked in as Jesus and he's coming out as Michael. When you believe in the physical resurrection, you're going to cause division in every religious body you go to. Hello?
That's right.
And Rav Shaul's faith in the resurrection split that Sanhedrin right down party lines. The Prushim versus the Saducess. Amen?
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Watch what you believe about the resurrection. Because if you have the Ruach of life, if you believe in the Anastasis, that the righteous, saved, born-again children of the resurrection, believers in the Moshiach, if you believe that in the Anastasis, in the standing up, you'll be a problem to religion. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
How many know Rabbi Moshe has been giving religious folks problems for many years? If you love Yeshua, that's what you've been doing. You cause religious folks tons and tons of problems.
Yep.
Because you don't flow, you don't go with the flow. They're telling you pray to be taken away, and Yahweh says pray to be left behind. They're telling you you're going to come out as a spirit, glorified spirit body, and Yeshua says, no, no, no. He says, because I live, that's the same way you're going to live.
Yeah.
The way I live is the same way you're going to live.
Yes.
Turn to your neighbor and say, the same way he lives.
Oh,
The same way he lives. He lives, he lives, he lives, and I'm going to live, and you're going to live, and we're going to live because he lives. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Don't go too far, Sarah. I need some Mayim Agua. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. See? 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians 15.
Oh, hallelujah.
Oh, look at verse 12. How many feel the anointing this morning? Amen. Amen. 1 Corinthians 15. Verse 12. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. If Moshiach is proclaimed that he has been raised from the dead, how do some among you who claim to be believers still say by the spirit of Sadduceeism that there is no resurrection? If Moshiach is taught and proclaimed, the good news, the Besarot, that he has been raised from the dead, how can you say there's no resurrection? Does it sound familiar? The same voices that are around today were around back then. And I have news for you. They'll tell you, oh, brother, we believe in the rapture. I submit to you, after prayerful consideration, that the rapture is nothing more than the spirit of the Sadducees. Now you think about what I'm telling you. Go home, don't get angry at me now. Go home and meditate on it. Meditate, because they're teaching a rapture and not a resurrection. Are you with me?
Yes.
I don't care how you deny the physical resurrection. When you deny the Mechayei HaMeitim, you are walking in the spirit of the Sadducees.
Yeah.
I don't care how you get there. But when you deny it and you look for something similar or something to replace it, not only is that the spirit of the Sadducees, that is replacement theology.
That's right.
Replacing the blessed hope with a false hope.
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Getting heavy now.
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Do I believe Yeshua's coming? Yes. Do I believe that the dead will rise? Yes. But I don't believe they're going to fly away to heaven. I believe they're going to be caught up in the air to get changed. How many have ever gotten changed lying down in your bed? Raise your hand. Ladies, raise your hand if you put your skirt on lying down on your back. Let me see your hand. So naturally, you've got to get up, stand up to get changed. That's what the resurrection is. It's standing up to get changed. It's a changing room above in the atmosphere. The Greek word is caught up in the air. The Greek word is aire, where we get the Spanish Buenos Aires. It doesn't say celestia or the heavens. You ain't going to get caught up to heaven in the rapture, but you're going to get caught up out of the earth and out of the coffin so you can get changed. Because you can't very well get changed lying flat on your back.
No.
Amen.
I've never done it. I got enough problem putting on my shoes when I'm standing straight up. Picture putting on a pair of pants or a pair of tights. Lying flat on your back. You're going to need a rapture to get changed that way. Now, this may not sound like, but that teaching is the spirit of Sadducees. It is not the spirit of life. It's not realistic. And those who teach that believe in three comings. You know that. Oh, no, Rabbi, that's not true. At the glorious rapture, Yeshua comes for the Kehillah. And then at the second coming, he comes with the Kehillah. Okay, so in other words, you believe in two second comings. 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. No, you don't understand, Rabbi. The rapture is not a coming. Well, wait a second. Does he get out of his throne? Yes. Does he descend from heaven? Yes. Does he come to the earth?
Yes.
No, he comes on the clouds. Yeah, but does he leave heaven? That's a coming.
Yeah. Amen.
It's a coming. So one coming is the first coming. The second coming, they say he comes for his people. That's coming number 2. And then the next time to the Mount of Olives, 1 + 1 + 1 is 3. Sorry, it's 3. Anyway, you say it cannot be. It is that we have misunderstood. We greatly err, not knowing the power of Yahweh or the Scriptures. I'm going to show you how they get the mistake. Amen, somebody?
Amen.
Don't be quiet on me now.
Come on. Amen.
I get very nervous when he gets quiet.
Amen.
Don't worry.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. I'm not going to show you yet. Just relax. In order. All things done decently and in order.
That's right.
Okay, back to 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 13. If there is no resurrection of the physical dead, then Moshiach has not been raised. If Moshiach has not been raised, then our proclaiming is empty. Our belief is also empty. And we are found to be what? False witnesses of Elohim. Because we have been witnessing of Elohim. That he raised up Moshiach, whom he did not raise up if the dead are not raised. Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Yes.
I said Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Now look at verse 16. For if the dead are not raised physically, then neither has Moshiach been raised. If Moshiach has been raised, verse 17, if he has not been raised, your faith, your belief is to no purpose. You're still in your sins. Those who have died in Moshiach have perished. And in this life, if we only have expectation in Moshiach, but not in the physical resurrection, in the next life, we are of all men most wretched. But here's the good news. But here's the liberating news. But here's the victorious news. In verse 20, but now. Turn to your neighbor and say, but now. Let's try that again. But now. In Moshiach. He has been raised from the dead and become the Bikurim of those who have fallen asleep. Hallelujah. Verse 22, verse 21. The first fruits of those who have slept. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Now jump down to verse 23. And here's what I'm going to focus on this morning. Each in his own order. Each believer in an order. Here's an order. Moshiach, the first fruits, then those who are of the Moshiach at his coming. So brothers and sisters, there's an order. Are you beginning? I understand what I'm saying? The way Yahweh is going to bring this thing to pass, guys, is in order. There's an order. Are you with me?
Yes.
There's a very deliberate order. I'm not preaching any haphazard resurrection or any rapture or anything. I'm going to do this thing decently, lay it out decently, and lay it out in order. Amen? Amen. Decently in order. Who's the Bikurim? Who's the first fruits?
Moshiach.
Yahshua. What are we going to celebrate tomorrow at 12 o'clock right here at the synagogue? We're going to wave the barley, the first fruit offering, as to remember that the Son of Yahweh rose from the dead, and because he lives, we shall live also.
Amen.
He is the first fruit, the Bikurim. Look at verse 23. Each in his own order. Moshiach, the first fruits, the Bikurim.
Baruch Hashem, Yahweh.
Yeah.
When? Then. Not if, not maybe, not pray about it, not hope, not intercede. Count on it. Count on it, bank on it. We will be rising from the dead.
Right.
Someday, then,
Amen.
when, then, in order. In his order.
That's right. He's ordered.
Not in our order.
He's ordered.
In his prime time
Amen.
order.
He's divine order.
He is Mr. Prime Time before
Amen.
Deion Sanders was ever prime time.
It's his ways.
Some
Amen.
folks think they're prime time.
No.
But I've got news for you. Yeshua is Mr. Prime Time. He's the first, and he made the way. And through his flesh, that is to say the veil, he has made a way for us into the Kadosh HaKadoshim, into the Holy of Holies, somebody.
Yes.
His flesh is the veil.
Hallelujah.
That's
He's the
what I'm talking
Bikurim,
about.
and here's the order. Here's the order. We want to eliminate the spirit of the Saducess. We want to stamp out the spirit of the Saducess. We want to destroy the spirit of the Saducess. And let the spirit of Yahshua reign. And let the spirit of life reign. And let the spirit of Chaim reign. And let the spirit of resurrection reign. And let the spirit of the Bikurim reign.
Woohoo! The truth. Hallelujah.
I want to destroy the spirit of the Saducess. Because it's not of Yahweh. I don't care what form it takes. You understand? It's not of Yahweh. Not of Yahweh.
Amen.
The first phase is Moshiach himself. Phase 1. And if phase 1 doesn't phase you, you can't qualify for phase 2. You better let phase 1 phase you, because Yeshua said, if I did it, you're going to do it through me. Because it is Colossians 1:27, Moshiach in us, our hope of glory.
Amen. Amen.
It phases me. Every time I think about that empty tomb, every time I think about the garden tomb, every time I think about Joseph of Arimathea's former tomb, I get excited.
Oh, yes.
You want to flip my bick? You want to float my boat? Just remind me. Just remind me of poor rich Joseph's tomb. Because it no longer was his. He gave it to Yeshua, and it's empty. It still is empty.
Yes.
He is not here. He is risen indeed.
Yes.
He is the Bikurim. Look at verse 23, 1 Corinthians 15. He is the Bikurim, the Bikurim. Then those who are his fruits, his children, at his coming. No more spirit of Sadducees. Phase 2. Let's go to phase 2. Matthew 27. Is anyone enjoying?
Oh, yeah.
If I don't hear more than that, I'm going to quit right now. Man, is anyone enjoying?
Yes, amen.
Amen. Oh, man. I feel much better right now. Matthew 27. Matthew 27. Hallelujah. I'm talking about an order. Why didn't he rise? Why didn't she rise? When will he rise? When will he come back? Well, it's got to be done all decently and in order.
His order.
There's an order to his things. Matthew 27.
His ways.
Phase 2. Let me take you, brothers and sisters, to phase 2. What's phase 1? The Bikurim, Yeshua. What's phase 2? It happened. Phase 1 is completed. Phase 2 is completed. Really? Yes. If you find someone asleep, just turn your neighbor and give him a zitz.
Hey.
Not a zitz, a zitz. You can't zit, but a zitz. The zitz is designed for you not to zit. Matthew 27:51. And you see, when Yeshua rose, the veil of the dwelling place was torn in two from top to bottom.
Amen.
The earth was shaken, the rocks split, the tombs were...
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
The tombs were open, and many bodies of the set-apart ones, the Kedushim, who had fallen asleep, were raised. Coming out of the tombs after the resurrection, they entered and went into the set-apart city of Jerusalem and appeared to many.
They stand up.
Those who came in phase 2 witnessed more than those who came in phase 1.
My.
Yeshua was phase 1, and the Jerusalem saints was phase 2, and that's completed. Phase 2 is completed. Now let me ask you a question, those of you who have walked in the spirit of the Sadducees. If phase 1 has been completed, if phase 2 has been completed, are you not is complete. Now I'm looking forward to phase 3.
Amen.
Hallelujah. The Bikurim has risen. The Yerushalayim Kedoshim have risen. Now phase 3. Phase 3, go with me to Revelation 11. Where do these folks show up? In Jerusalem. Boy, wouldn't I love some of those folks to show up right now. Don't close your Bibles, you're not going anywhere. I'm operating. When the doctor's operating, do you move on the table?
No.
Man! Revelation chapter 11. Hallelujah. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Phase 3. Phase 3. Moshiach the Bikurim. The Yerushalayim saints. Wouldn't that be cool if some of those Yerushalayim saints that appeared to many, where did they appear? In Yerushalayim. Who did they appear to? Many of the unbelievers. What were they talking about? The resurrection of their Moshiach and their own resurrection.
Amen.
Wouldn't you like some of those folks to show up in Ramallah?
Amen.
Go, woo, yeah, I see it, baby. I was dead and I was part of phase 2, but now I'm alive by the power of Almighty Yahweh. Somebody give me back my territory. Let my people go. I'm tired of the Palestinian occupied territories of the West Bank.
Amen.
Wouldn't you like to send some of those phase 2 saints to spook the living daylights out of that girl? Whoa! Because they just appeared to many in Jerusalem. All you got to do is send them to Ramallah.
Yeah.
Please, Yahweh.
Yes, Yahweh. Do it quickly, Yahweh.
He thinks he's under siege now. Just wait till the phase 2 saints start showing up. This is my land from the Mediterranean to the Dead Sea. This is my land. Release and let him go in the name of Yahweh. Give praise somebody in the house of Yahweh this morning. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Hallelujah. Let my people go. Bring it. Get back my land. Because the phase 2 saints are going to be sent by Yahweh. Wouldn't that be neat? Hallelujah. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Hallelujah.
Oh, hallelujah.
Right now, Yasser Arafat is living by a candle. He's living by eating by candlelight. But I would love to blow out
Oh,
that
yes.
and accommodate his darkness, for he lives in darkness.
Oh, yes. Baruch Hashem, Yahweh.
Battery runs out.
Hallelujah. No enemy of Yahweh is a friend of mine. Yeshua said, pray for your enemies. He didn't say, take them in.
Right?
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Revelation chapter 11, phase 3. Watch this. Revelation 11:7. 11 and 7. When the 2 witnesses of Revelation in the great tribulation, the great flipses, have ended their witnessing, the beast comes up from the pit of the deep and fights against the 2 witnesses. He overcomes them. He kills them. Their dead bodies lie in the street of the great city, spiritually called Sodom, Mitzrayim, where also our master was impaled. Notice, now I want you to jump down. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Jump down to verse 12. What happened to the 2 witnesses? They were killed. By who? By the beast. And those nations surrounding Jerusalem, trying to take control of Jerusalem. They were killed. Here's phase 3, brothers and sisters. Here's phase 3. Look at verse 12. I heard a loud voice from heaven. I'm sorry, go back to verse 11. After 3.5 days, the spirit of the Sadducees. Is that what it says?
No.
The
Spirit.
spirit of life
Life.
from Elohim entered to them, the 2 witnesses, and they stood up. What is the word resurrection? Anastasis. They stood up from where? From the street. They got up out of the street. You ever hear that expression? Get up out of the street?
Yeah.
Well, they did. They will. And that's phase 3, yet uncompleted. Okay? Not completed. This will be completed, but it's not yet completed.
Yeah.
Yahweh will resurrect the 2 witnesses of Revelation during the great tribulation, and he will say, look, he'll put them on their feet. He'll put them back on their feet. How many know when Yahweh puts you back on your feet, you're standing? You're standing. Having done all to stand, so you got to stand. You put on the full armor of Yahweh, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, have your loins girded about with truth, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel.